Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another exciting episode of the Olympic story powered by Sports Adda. And today, our story takes a slight pit stop at a sport which has always been fascinating to a lot of us. It is internationally a huge sensation and it has been growing fairly well in our country. But golf as a sport in the Olympics seems somewhat well, a little interesting to say the least. And today, shedding light on this particular sport, the qualification, how does one compete at the Olympic level, how is it different from the other international tournaments, is a man who has done wonderfully well for the country. Yes, I'm talking about the youngest Indian golfer to win on the Asian Tour. Yes, he was just 17, and when I was 17, I couldn't even tie my shoelaces. But then that's what talent is. He was ranked 45th in the world in 2020 and 21 PGTI season. Viraj Madappa has so far bagged 5 top 10s to be placed 9th in the order of merit. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the man himself who is now going to take us through this beautiful, beautiful journey of golf at the Olympics. Welcome to the show, Viraj. A pleasure to have you on the show. I hope you and your family are doing wonderfully well.
Thank you so much for having me. We're all doing really well. Thank you. It's been a tough time, and but we're managing. Golf courses have opened, so I'm kind of relatively busy now with practice. So it's nice to have some sort of routine back.
That's excellent. That's wonderful to hear, Viraj. And okay, so I, of course, would like for us to kick off the conversation. The first thought that comes to my mind is the fact that we, as a sport, in India at least, is not very accessible to a lot of people because of the fact that a lot of the golf courses are either privately owned by clubs or by government institutions, where the ruling for a person to go ahead and play becomes fairly tough. There is a lot of protocol involved in there. So if, for example, the sports really starts to grow and become something which is a matter of national pride, how do we start to achieve that, to encourage the youngsters to at least have accessibility, for them to at least try their hand at something like this? So I would really like you to put things into perspective.
Like you said, a lot of the cities in India do have golf courses, but the problem is that you have to be a member to have access to these places. And right now, during at least the coronavirus, we haven't, guests haven't been allowed. So even if a member, they could have signed you in the past and let you play a few rounds, but currently I don't think guests are allowed in many golf clubs at the moment. But with that being said, over the last few years, the growth has improved. We do see some public golf ranges opening up in the Delhi NCR region, which kind of gives access to the public. You can just pay for the day, pay for the balls. You can rent out clubs and you can play. So the accessibility is definitely increasing, but I think as a sport we will require funding from the government, more places like these public golf ranges where you can access, just have a good time, at least start off, learn what the game is, learn how to swing a golf club, learn how to putt and stuff like that. It is a fun sport, and I think there isn't a dearth of potential and talent in this country. I'm sure with 1.5 billion people, we have incredible athletes, and I think they just need the opportunity to know what the sport is and to start playing the sport.
So, okay, to take things further from that particular point that you made, that yes, of course, maybe the sport requires a certain injection of maybe funds or the right guidance or the right infrastructure moving forward. But let's face it, we have produced some really good golfers. I mean, in Milkha Singh, who was the only Indian golfer to have made the top 50 in the world. Then, of course, we've had Arjun Atwal, Jyoti Randhawa. Uh, Notable golfers who have also played at the European level or have played at the Asian level. You yourself have done so. But do you think that uh, does encourage, or have you seen a change in the mindset of maybe the younger generation to kind of now start getting more inclined towards it, because we have produced some fairly notable figures?
Definitely, we have done well in the international stage. But you see, all of us have come from relatively well-to-do backgrounds who have had access to the sport.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone that you mentioned has had access to a golf club. Their parents or someone has been a member of a golf club. But we're just, I think you can name 20 really good international players, but I'm sure the potential is so much more. If you look at our local professional tour itself, we have incredible talent. Our depth of the field is huge, and also the junior level and the amateur level. I'm sure if these people are given proper opportunities to play, I'm sure we'll be able to have so many more champions of our sport.
Fair enough. Okay, so now, of course, the fact that we get into the Olympic contingent, we have again some very promising players. Udayan is doing fairly well, and of course the other players, Aditya, Ashok, all of these players who've gone through. So first and foremost, I would really like you to explain to a lot of us, right, in terms of how does the mechanics of golf, or probably the qualification aspect, or how does one compete at the Olympic level in a sport of golf? How does one go about progress and move up?
I think I'll start with just explaining how the sport works.
Yes.
Unlike most sports, the least number of points you get, the better it is. So the least number of the less shots you take, the better you are at golf. So unlike other sports, the higher number, whatever the runs or your points, it's the opposite in golf. And I think with like you said, the Olympic qualification process, it's all based on world ranking. We have, I think, 60 players in the men's field and 60 players in the women's field, purely based out of world ranking. And but every country can only have up to two participants. So I think like America has two, Britain has two. You can have two based on your world ranking. So India, the top two were Anirban and Udayan, and that's why they got in.
Yes.
And also Aditi, and I think today Diksha Dagar just got in to the Olympics. I think that was the news that I got in the morning.
Yes.
So we will be having a full field, two participants in the men's and the women's.
Right. Okay. So of course, now from there, when one starts to progress, how does the progress take place? Like, for example, Udayan is in the top 10. So how does that augur for us in terms of maybe a prospect at a medal, or probably at a glorious performance which we can write home about?
Yes, I think it's huge. It's going to be huge for the sport. More people are going to know about golf. The public are going to know about golf. You can see with weightlifting also, with Mirabai Chanu winning silver. It's huge for the sport itself. So I'm sure it's going to be bringing a medal home is going to be huge, not only for the individuals, because they've worked really hard to get to where they are, but for the sport, for the country, it's going to be big. Currently, I think Anirban has started off. He's played fairly well today. I know then yet to finish. So I think it's like a 4-day event. Like, it's just a normal tournament. It's an individual sport where over 4 days your scores are accumulated and the person with the least shots wins. So I think the start that Anirban's had, he's coming in with a lot of momentum. He's just played really well in his last PGA Tour event. And Udayan has obviously over the last 18 months has, I think, dominated the field in India. So we have two of our brightest prospects in the Olympics, and we have a very strong team and definitely a very strong chance of winning a medal this year.
That's very nice and that's very encouraging, Viraj. But uh, just to quote, I mean, since we were talking about Anirban himself, Anirban, of course, recently did say about the Olympics, which I thought was quite interesting. He said that at the Olympics, it's about spot number one, two, three. But maybe on a regular golf tournament, which could be the PGA Tour or any of the other tournaments, you could still be tied at maybe number 10 or number 6, number 5, and you could have still played a fabulous a round of golf. So what I want to ask you is, with at the Olympics, is it like a slight edge that the player gets, that he competes maybe with a lot more aggression because he knows that it's spot number one, two, three?
I don't think so. I think you enter every golf tournament to try and win. You're not trying to finish second. You're not trying to finish third. There is a smaller field. Yes, you're playing normally a golf tournament. We have between 120 to 150 people. When the Olympics, you only have 60. So there is definitely a smaller field, but that doesn't mean that the competition is going to be any less. It's the elite players in the world playing, the top 60. But I'm sure both of them, and Aditi and Disha, all four of them are going out to win the gold. They're not going to try to win a bronze. I hope not. And I'm sure they all know that they have the potential to win. So I think it definitely kind of gives incentive, because the gold is huge. But if you still play well, and let's say you don't win, you still get a silver or a bronze maybe, and a medal is a medal at the end of the day.
Oh, medal is a medal for sure, and of course it just completely heightens your own psychology and your motivation levels, and everything seems to be running perfectly in perfect harmony and unison. Okay, so right now, of course, Anirban is in the top 10 and Udayan is in the top 20. This is after round one. Viraj, this is something which has always kind of intrigued me, and I always wanted to ask you this, which is that 4 days is what you have to play, right?
Correct.
Now you play well on the first day, and things start to go a little awry maybe on the second day, and then the third day could be a little lukewarm or could be brilliant again, and then the fourth day, so, and of course you've got a lot of the others also constantly nipping at your heels. So as a golfer, it's a long period of time for one to maintain that sense of focus, the concentration levels, the consistency, most importantly. What is the secret behind doing that? Is it just practice, or is it something else?
It is definitely, there's a lot of practice, there's a lot of work into trying to understand your body. The consistency doesn't come overnight. You have to put in the work. And you have to also be okay with the fact that you're not going to be 100% every day. You're not going to feel great. There might be weeks where you feel invincible and 4 days are great, and that's when you win the tournament by 5-6 shots. But then there are times, or most of the times, you'll have to grind it out. On the days you're not feeling great, you have to manage with what you have and make the most of it. You can't just say, I'm not feeling good today, I'm going to give up. That's not how any sport works. So even in golf, it's a longer duration where you have to be consistent, and that's the key. You will have, over a 4-day tournament, you will have 1 or 2 days where you are feeling good and you will perform. But it's the days that you aren't feeling 100%. Those are the days where you actually kind of buckle down, put in more energy into focusing. Some days it feels like a flow. Some days it feels difficult. So the days where you're not feeling it, you kind of buckle down and you kind of just grind through it, and you make the most of what you get out of a round.
Fair enough. Okay, so now how much of an important role does sports psychology play here? Because it, I believe, is something which is in a way a big mandate for a golfer to constantly keep that level of focus. So what sort of maybe training, or is it like sessions that you guys do, if at all, with sports psychology?
I think the mental aspect of the game is definitely, I think, more, if not, I think more than the physical aspect, because the physical abilities are pretty much the same when you're practicing. It's how can you perform under pressure when you are forced to hit a shot, when you're first forced to perform, like at the stage like the Olympics, can you handle the pressure? And that obviously comes from training your mind in a certain way. Um, a lot of the golfers do have psychologists to have cues as to what to think about, or what to, when you feel a certain way, when you feel a negative thought, how to get that out and get into your ideal performance state. So that is what everyone is trying to get towards. And at the end of the day, like I said, the physical abilities are pretty much the same. The elite players really separate themselves on the mental aspect. They have that edge mentally, which kind of helps them win so many more tournaments.
I must actually congratulate you, Viraj, in terms of your fitness levels. It seems that you do work very hard in terms of the physical fitness aspect of things. Is that become now a very important part of golf, especially in the modern era? Because of course we've seen in the past golfers, well, not being the fittest, but now the younger generation, or probably, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, the trend maybe kicked off with the great Tiger Woods. He's forever fit, right? And he's built pretty much like an athlete, like a runner. So how much of that plays or factors in?
I think that we call it the Tiger era, when early 2000s, where he absolutely dominated the sport. He showed that, being fitter, being stronger, being able to swing the club faster made a huge difference, because now golf is turning into a distance game. The further you can hit it with relative accuracy, you will have an advantage over everyone else. And I think the person who's showcasing that really well right now is an American called Bryson DeChambeau. He has taken it to another level, and he is showing that length and power can really, help defeat a lot of the players. And I think a lot of the top players are realizing that, and you see it even, seeping down into the sport, with the juniors and amateurs now putting so much more emphasis, not just on the golf, the technique part of it, but also the physical aspect, where you're trying to eat right, you're trying to train in the gym, you're doing power moves, golf-specific moves, which help you swing faster, which help you have a longer career, where you're working on your mobility, you're not feeling tight afterwards, you're taking care of your body so that you can play for the next 20-25 years. And golf is one of those sports where you can have a very long career.
Yes.
So I think with the fitness part, with the nutrition, with all the other elements outside of just the golf, with people putting emphasis on that, you can see that careers are getting extended, and people are even playing well even in their 30s and 40s. So I'm sure the physical aspect definitely plays a huge role right now.
That's excellent. And so, Viraj, with the introduction of golf at the Olympics, right? Do you think that will change the mindset of players like yourself, or for that matter, Udayan or Aditya Show going forward? Why I ask you that question is purely because, like you said, maybe breaking into the tours or the tournaments or whatever is the case right now, that is still a work in progress, right? But at least with the Olympics, we have a very clear understanding and a standard now, where we know at least let's hit this every 4 years and ensure that we do brilliantly well. So does that change the mindset of a player?
Definitely. With golf being an individual sport, you're definitely playing under the Indian flag, but it's an individual sport at the end of the day. Very few times do we actually get to represent the country on such a big stage. And with the reintroduction in 2016, it has definitely boosted a lot of my fellow compatriots. They definitely feel an urge every time we step on to a golf course. We do want to do well, because we get our world ranking up, we have a chance of making it to the Olympic team. Definitely in Paris 2024, my goal is also to hopefully make the team. And
Excellent.
So like I said, we really don't get as many opportunities as some of the other sports to kind of play under the Indian flag, play as a team. represent our country, and also, have so many people in our country watch the sport. I think it's a huge stage for us as individuals, as athletes, as Indians to kind of, showcase that what golf is and to help grow the sport. Um, Definitely, it's an added boost every time you kind of put in a practice session. You're motivated to get onto the team. So it's a big thing for us, definitely.
That's excellent. Viraj, I mean, of course, with the way both of them are performing right now, I'm sure they would have done something very, very interesting because they're playing fabulously well. And especially given the fact that they were practicing during the pandemic. What do you think did you do, or for that matter, they do? Because it's very tough, given the fact that you can practice an outdoor sport and they're doing well. So I'm sure they would have done something nice. So you want to give us their little secret?
We've had to all, I guess, kind of innovate in our houses, get maybe a hitting mat, put a blanket up. I think a lot of us broke a few windows also. But it's we're just trying to get through the pandemic. It was a few months last year, and I think early this year, I think Anirban was in America, so he got to practice a lot more. But I was in touch with Aditi throughout, and she'd put up a blanket on her terrace, a couple of blankets, hung it on a rope, and had one of those foot mats, and she was hitting balls off that, and you're putting on the marble or putting on a yoga mat. So we're just trying to innovate, keep ourselves busy, keep our bodies moving. You just as long as everyone made the most of that time, work towards a particular goal, whether it was a physical goal or a mental goal. I'm sure Udayan was working very hard on his fitness because he's been putting up a lot of workout videos, and you can see it coming in his swing. He's swinging it better. He's swinging it faster now. And I'm sure with Diksha also, I'm sure everyone really kind of tried to figure out a way to get to practice in those months. And you can see the four of them have obviously capitalized the most and have made the most of the time. So kudos to them.
Excellent. All right. So right now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be throwing to Udayan. Viraj, you just need to excuse me for a second. I'm sure you're doing brilliantly well, Udayan, and of course you're performing amazingly. So kudos to that. After round one, it seems good going, and of course we have another 3 days to go. So I'm sure the consistency levels are going to be up, and that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. That how are you feeling in Tokyo, and how has it been training during this pandemic? We'd really like to know.
Yeah, I mean, I have represented India before, but never on this scale. So it's exciting, a little nervy, a little anxious, but more than anything, I'm full of pride, and I'm hungry to deliver glory to the nation. I think it's one of those events where I'll be rubbing shoulders with the best of the best in the game. In 2020, when the first lockdown was there, I'm fortunate enough that my parents can have a garden outside the house. So we put up like a small, like a curtain kind of sheet, where I could hit balls from the grass and into the curtain, which we had hung from bamboo poles and stuff like that. And I was still sort of in the swinging form of golf, still like working on things that I need to work on. And in this lockdown, I went to Kalhar Blues and Greens in Ahmedabad. It's a private golf course. The golf course was open. So I spent 50 or 55 days there, just playing. So I never really got out of touch from golf. During this lockdown. Last lockdown was different because I was just hitting balls. We couldn't see where the ball is going. I had no feedback. But this time, the golf course was open. It remained open. So I was lucky enough to go there and play, to my heart's content.
Okay, so Viraj, would definitely want to ask you, it's always been fascinating to me I know it's a very silly thing to say, but how many times have you hit a hole in one? I had to ask you that because it's
It's the
always
most common
fascinating.
question.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I mean, I was trying to be original, but I just couldn't contain it. I had to ask you. Yeah.
I've had one. I've had only one hole in one. I was 12 years old
Oh, wow.
at the time, and I thought I hit a bad shot and it went in. So I wasn't even happy that it went in because I was kind of disgusted with the shot, and I was like, it ended up going in the hole. But yeah, I've come close a lot of times. Hopefully, we can get a few more.
So tell me this. I mean, let's face it. Is that something where you've been talking about it, and of course now I'd like to kind of learn from whatever you kind of educated me on. You're talking about a longest, length that you want to send the ball to, the power, the swing, all of that. So do you kind of, in a way, start off with that as a golfer? That okay, well, at least let me try to aim for a hole in one. Is that a part of the strategy, or is it something where you say, okay, maybe that's putting too much pressure on myself, I might just make things go a little completely wayward?
Yeah, so I think golf doesn't work. Like you can't have a hole in one on a lot of the holes because they are out of reach. They are different. We have different distances for all the holes. We play 18
So,
holes, out of which we have between 3 to 4 par threes, which is actually the par threes are where you can reach the hole and have a hole in one. The par fours and the par fives are longer in length and takes 2 to 3 shots to reach the hole itself. So we don't have that many opportunities to actually make a hole in one every round. But
but when
definitely,
you do have them, is that the strategy with which you're going forward?
definitely, you're always trying to get it close to the hole. We're always aiming at the flag. So a good shot should end up very close to the hole. And there's a lot of luck involved with the hole in one. You have to
Sure.
have because there are so many external factors, not just the fact that you're hitting the ball, but the kind of grass makes a difference. The wind direction makes a difference.
Sure.
When it pitches on the grass, what kind of bounce it gets makes a difference. If you hit a tree and it goes on the hole, that also makes a difference. So there's a lot of luck involved in this sport.
Okay, fair enough. So, well, some people, I don't know, maybe some golfers have their little superstitious rituals of performing a little, I don't know, sacrifice before they hit a shot because the luck aspect is. But yeah, I'd wanna definitely ask you this. It is an individual sport, right? But now the way we've sent the team across, we are representing the country. So what's the camaraderie like? As far as the boys and the girls are concerned, because now they're playing as a team representing the country, still in an individual capacity.
Definitely, it's been huge. I think the support that the guys are getting, everyone in India wants them to do well. You can see before the Olympics, the qualification happened. A lot of the guys were competing to get the spot into Tokyo.
Right.
But now that the tournament has started, leading up to the event, you can see the number of wishes that have gone out. Everyone really wants Anirban, Udayan, Aditi, and now Diksha to do really well because now they're representing our country. They are representing our tour. They're representing all the golfers in the country, and all the wishes have been going out to them. We really, really hope that they do well. So it is a very healthy environment over here. The tour really supports the guys who do well, all the international players, and it's been great.
Excellent. Okay, so well, it's time again now that I'm going to ask Udayan this, where of course Viraj was just talking about the camaraderie, and of course there is a lot of support for you, Udayan and Anirban, that you guys need to bring back the gold. No pressure, of course. We're not pressurizing. We're only trying to encourage you. So don't take it the other way around. But of course, it brings me to the point. I'd like to ask you this: how is your relationship or your camaraderie with Anirban? And of course, we want you to tell us, what the behind-the-scenes stuff is, the spicy stuff.
We've been on call on a regular basis, actually, just talking about, like logistics and what's happening with his process, what's happening with me, are the bags coming on time, are the clubs coming on time, when is he getting in? what when do we want to play, just simple things like that. In my preparation, he has been instrumental in my early years as a amateur and professional golfer. But ever since he's moved to America, I think the physical sort of presence of being around each other has reduced quite a bit. So that way, over the last 2-3 years, not so much. But before that, I mean, we've been good friends for the last 10 or 15 years now. So I'll get to meet him physically in front of me over there, and I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah.
All right. So we are back with you, Viraj. I of course now like for you to talk about what kind of a message that you would like to give in terms of the fact that to the entire contingent, for sure, first. And secondly, your little special message to your golfing compadres who are playing there, and of course you're gearing up that you can be a part of this team at the Olympics at 2024. So over to you, your message.
To the whole Indian contingent, you guys have obviously worked really hard to be where you are. You deserve to be in the Olympics, and we all of us in India are rooting for your success. Enjoy the week. It's going to be a very special week, meeting the elite athletes from all sports all over the world. Enjoy the week and make the most of it. Make yourself proud, and I'm sure you'll make India proud. And for the golfers, Anirban, Olen, Aditi and Diksha, you guys have been inspiring me throughout my golfing journey. And, just have a good time. And if you play well, play to your potential, be happy with your game. I'm sure you'll bring laurels to our country in the Olympics. So let's go. Jai Hind.
Fabulous. That was fabulous. Very inspirational, Viraj. And we are very thankful for you to have come on to the show. And you have, of course, made sure that all of the discussion that we had, you kept putting, sorry, again, I had to crack that pun, putting things into perspective. And of course, this is wishing you all the best moving forward. And I really pray and I really hope that you are part of the Indian contingent at the next Olympics. And of course, as your personal journey, I really hope that you achieve a lot of stuff, and leaps and bounds is what your growth should be. So, well, of course, for all of you guys watching, I just want to say again that our story continues on the Olympic story, and we will bring you another sparkling sport, because we do it well because we are powered by Sports Sadda. Always remember that. Yes, very important for your diet. We are, of course, going to take your leave right now, but till we meet again, you take care. Bye-bye and Jai Hind.